I lay in bed. I didn't have the strength to move. I was numb, lost in a haze of confusion and fear. My mind raced, but my body felt as though it were trapped in place. My heart was heavy, the weight of everything pressing down on me. What had I done to deserve this? Why was everything falling apart? I stared at the wall, the hours dragging on like seconds. Time seemed to slip away, but my thoughts stayed trapped in the same dark corner. I was worried about Louis. I couldn't shake the fear of what Henry might do. I knew him too well. I knew how cruel he could be when he was angry. Then, Henry entered the room, his presence instantly making the air heavier.
I have important business,
he said, his voice cold and indifferent.
I'll be back soon. You don't have a right to leave this house, understand?
He began packing his clothes into a bag, his movements swift, as if he couldn't wait to get out of the room.
I've already told the servants everything.
He paused, looking at me.
You're such a disappointment. A disgrace. I regret marrying you.
He spat. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say anymore. And then, just like that, he was gone. I just lay, feeling more alone than I ever had before. Mary knocked softly on the door, her voice tentative.
Miss, I've brought some food,
she called from the outside. I turned toward the window, realizing with a jolt that it was already nightfall. Time had slipped away without me noticing, the hours blending together as I lay there, consumed by my thoughts and fears. The door creaked open, and there, standing in the doorway, was Louis. My breath caught in my throat. I froze, my heart racing, a flood of emotions crashing over me. You're safe? I whispered, my voice trembling, the words barely escaping my lips. Are you hurt? Tears welled up in my eyes, and I couldn't hold them back. The relief I felt was overwhelming, yet fear still gnawed at me. Without another word, Louis rushed to my side, pulling me into a tight embrace. I clung to him, my body shaking. I thought you died. I thought Henry harmed you. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I sobbed, my words falling in a broken stream as I buried my face in his chest. I heard the door softly close behind us, and Mary's footsteps fading away, leaving us alone.
Don't worry, Elizabeth. I'm here. I'm not hurt,
Louis whispered, his voice soothing and steady as he held me close.
I followed you here. I'm scared of what your husband might do to you. I don't want to lose you again, not like before.
He suddenly pulled back slightly, his gaze locking with mine as he gently wiped away the tears that had been streaming down my face.
Don't cry now,
he said softly, his voice filled with resolve.
Let's escape. I'll help you get out of here.
But I'm scared, I whispered, my heart pounding in my chest, the fear still clinging to me. He cupped my face in his hands, his eyes filled with sincerity.
Don't worry,
he reassured me, his thumb brushing against my cheek.
Just like I said, I won't leave you.
In that moment, the world outside felt distant, the pain and fear momentarily forgotten. All that mattered was the way his words calmed the storm inside me. Without thinking, I found myself drawn to him, my lips trembling before they met him in a kiss that felt like the first breath of air after being submerged too long. It was tender, full of unspoken promises, a promise of safety, of escape, of a future beyond the suffocating walls that had held me captive. I kissed him back, my heart racing, the fear slowly fading as his warmth enveloped me. In that moment, it felt like we were the only two people in the world, and nothing else mattered. He pulled back just enough to rest his forehead against mine. His hands gently brushed a strand of hair from my face, his thumb tenderly tracing my cheek as if to make sure I was real, as if he couldn't quite believe I was here with him.
I'm here,
he whispered, his voice thick with emotion.
And I won't let you go.
The words were a vow, a promise I could hold on to, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I allowed myself to believe it. What about my family? I asked Louis, my voice trembling with uncertainty. He looked at me, his expression soft yet determined.
This time, pick yourself. You've sacrificed long enough for everyone. It's time you put yourself first.
His words hit me harder than I expected, but I nodded, feeling the weight of what he was saying. I had spent so long putting others before myself, and maybe, just maybe, it was time to think about my own happiness.
Let's go. Let's hurry.
he urged, his voice full of urgency. Did Mary help you? I asked, still trying to process everything.
Yes, she did.
He replied, gratitude in his eyes.
She hid me. When you left the shop, I overheard someone was looking for me, so I escaped through the window.
We both hurried out of the bed, rushing toward the door. And that's when we saw her. Mary was standing there, waiting for us, her eyes full of quiet strength.
Elizabeth, hurry up. Go get the happy life you deserve,
she said, her voice a little shakier than usual. Without thinking, I hugged her tightly. Thank you so much, Mary, I whispered, my voice full of emotion. I won't forget you, ever. She hugged me tightly, and for a moment, I felt a warmth that had been missing for so long.
Enough of this. Let's go, Elizabeth,
she said, her voice firm, but filled with love. Louis took my hand, and together we ran, our footsteps echoing in the empty house as we hurried down the stairs. As we passed the door, I saw Thomas standing there. He just stared at me, his eyes unreadable, before offering a smile, a silent gesture of letting me go. I couldn't understand it, but I didn't have time to dwell on it. I was running towards freedom, towards a chance at a new life. I turned to look at Mary one last time. She was standing there, nodding at me with a sad but proud smile. Just as we were about to make our way into the dark night, I heard the familiar sound of a cart's wheels, the creak of it stopping behind us. I turned, and my heart dropped. Henry stepped off the cart.
So this is your lover, Elizabeth?
He shouted.
We've been looking for him around town to give him this.
He pulled out a gun and pointed it in our direction. My breath caught in my throat, the sight of the weapon making my knees weak. Louis's grip on my hand tightened, his body tense beside me.
We meet again,
he said, his voice low and filled with quiet fury. Henry sneered, his eyes narrowing.
Do we know each other?
He taunted.
Oh, I remember you. You're that boy who caused a commotion the day I took my whore from her village.
Henry sneered, taking slow, deliberate steps toward us, his grip tightening around the gun.
Do you know how much you angered me back then?
His voice was cold, dripping with cruelty.
That's why I made your family suffer. To force you to leave that town.
Louis let go of my hand, stepping forward, his expression unreadable. He didn't flinch, didn't waver, even with the gun aimed at him. Then, Henry pulled the trigger. The gunshot tore through the silence. I screamed as Louis staggered back, clutching his arm where the bullet had struck. Henry smirked, reloading the gun. But Louis didn't give him the chance. With swift determination, Louis lunged, landing a solid punch to Henry's jaw. The force knocked Henry back a step, the gun slipping from his grasp and falling onto the ground. But Henry was quick. He countered with a brutal strike to Louis's face, sending him stumbling to the dirt. My heart pounded as Louis wiped blood from his lip, pushing himself up just in time to block another blow. Fists flew, each hit fueled by unfinished vengeance. Their grunts and the sharp crack of knuckles meeting flesh filled the night. Then they both saw it. The gun, lying a few feet away in the dirt. Their eyes met, breaths ragged, bodies tense. And in that instant, they moved. Both lunged at the same time, toward the weapon, knowing that whoever reached it first would decide how this night would end. Before either of them could reach it, my hands wrapped around the gun, my fingers gripping the cold metal. I stood there, trembling, my breath uneven as I pointed it at Henry. Louis held him firmly, but Henry still struggled, his glare burning into me, filled with rage and something almost mocking, like he didn't believe I would do it. The servants stood around us, watching in silence. None of them moved, none of them tried to stop me. They just let me.
No, Elizabeth.
Louis's voice broke through my haze. I flinched, my hands shaking, my grip unsteady.
I don't want you to suffer the guilt of killing him,
he said, his voice gentle despite the chaos. For a second, I hesitated, my breath catching in my throat. That second was all Henry needed. With a sudden burst of strength, he drove his fist into Louis's ribs, making him stagger back with a sharp gasp. Louis lost his hold, and Henry was free. I barely had time to react before Henry turned to me, his arm raised, ready to strike. But then Thomas moved. With a sharp swing, he landed a powerful punch across Henry's face, sending him stumbling backward. Before Henry could recover, Harvey was by my side, stepping in front of me protectively. Henry lay on the ground once again, breathless, furious, his chest rising and falling with ragged breaths. I tightened my grip on the gun. My hands were still trembling, but this time, I didn't let go. My heart pounded so loudly, I could hear it in my ears. I pulled the trigger. The shot rang out in the night, the sound cutting through the silence. Henry let out a sharp, agonized cry as the bullet struck his leg. He collapsed, clutching his leg, his face twisting in pain. My breath hitched. My whole body shook violently, the weight of everything crashing down on me. My hands went numb, and before I realized it, the gun slipped from my grasp, falling onto the ground.
What have you done? Elizabeth!
Henry roared, his voice filled with rage and agony. His face twisted in fury as he clutched his wounded leg.
I'm going to kill you! Do you hear me? I'm going to kill you!
He spat, his eyes burning with hatred as he tried to push himself up. Before he could lunge at me, a gunshot echoed through the night. I gasped, my body frozen in place. Lewis stood beside me, his arm still raised, the gun steady in his grasp. His expression was unreadable, his chest rising and falling with deep, controlled breaths. Henry's body falls motionless, his once fiery eyes now gazing at the dark sky. Silence fell over the house. The night air was thick with tension, the silence deafening after the gunshot. My hands trembled, my breath uneven, as I stared at Henry's body. It was over. I turned, my heart still hammering. The servants gathered around us. Their faces, worn with years of hardship, held no fear, only quiet relief. Mary stepped forward, her eyes glistening.
Miss Elizabeth, you've always treated us kindly.
She said, her voice trembling.
Henry, he was cruel. He hurt us, punished us for the smallest mistakes, hurting us and our families.
We won't say a word.
Thomas added firmly.
No one will ever know what really happened here. Let us take care of everything.
I looked at them, overwhelmed. They had suffered for so long under Henry's rule, and now, instead of feeling fear, they were standing by me.
This is justice,
Harvey said simply. Thank you. Lewis took my hand in his grip warm, grounding me. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. No more fear, no more chains. I was free. It turned out that Henry isn't dead. However, he has become paralyzed and can no longer walk or talk. Mary and the others now live freely, away from Henry. I learned that Henry had been physically hurting them, and even made threats to harm their families if they ever tried to leave. Now, Henry is alone. With Mary's help, I gave my family all of my material possessions and left them a letter explaining that I'd be gone for a while, choosing myself this time. Lewis and I now live a different life, in a different country, under different names. We don't have much, but I'm happier now than I ever was when I had everything. My definition of everything has changed. Lewis, is the food ready? I called out, plucking herbs from the small garden we'd worked on together.
Almost, Elizabeth.
He called back, his voice drifting through the soft rustling of the trees. It had been years since we left that town that had felt like a trap. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with struggles and sacrifices, but we never gave up. Now, standing in the warmth of our home, surrounded by happiness and love, I realized this was everything I had ever wanted. A life that was mine, a life that was ours. Nothing could come between us.